Everyone tells you kit lenses suck, but does the 28-60 f4-5.6 suck? Talk about it in this video. So the reason why this lens gets overlooked is because it is a kit lens and people treat it as a kit lens that they just get rid of. But I think it has some value in it, especially if you are starting out or you're a beginner or even not. Maybe you want something compact. So we're gonna talk about it in this video, all the use cases. I'm not a pixel peeper and I'm not go into in depth in that regard because a lot of people have different use cases and I'm not able to cover that. And there's a lot more people that are capable in that regard. So in practice, it's the smallest full frame zoom lens that's weather sealed and very reliable that Sony has. It's one of the most reliable lenses that Sony has, and it comes with different sorts of kits. So you can get this used on FB Marketplace. However, it's being sold at an expensive, ridiculous rate. I think don't buy it if they're charging too much. I was able to get this in a deal with the 35mm f1.8 prime lens that I have. So combined with those, it was a really good deal. So I have another video on the prime lenses if you're looking through these because you're trying to relate with the A7C II. But going into the pros of this lens that we're covering today is that it's very tiny and discreet. If I attach this to the A7C II whenever I was out and about, it just looked like a typical tourist camera that no one really would bother. If I had the 24-105 on my A7C II or even the 24-50 f2.8, it kind of looks aggressive and it sort of looks like I'm doing something. With this one, it just looks like I'm a tourist. So that's one of the pros of it. I've shot on the street and people don't really care. I have yet to run into someone that when I use this lens and then I use the A7C II, like people care. Honestly, I'm trying not to attract attention in terms of whenever I try to shoot content outside. Another pro of this is that it can be really cheap if you buy it used. However, if you buy it brand new, it's too expensive and I don't think you should. So another pro for this lens is that it's very versatile from 28-60. So effectively, if you have the A7C II or any of the cameras that can crop in, you can get multiple focal lengths out of the end range of this lens. So you can reach potentially 70 to 80 to even 80 to 90. So it really depends. One other benefit for this lens is that it has weather sealing. So you have confidence whenever you're shooting in the rain or whenever it gets maybe dusty. I live in Vancouver, so whenever it rains, this is going to be really useful if I don't want to drag one of my other lenses in that condition. And in my opinion, it's surprisingly sharp for what it is. Obviously, there's cons to it and we're going to get to it, but it's sharp enough for what I needed to do. So take that with a grain of salt, test it out. The best pro for having this lens is that it definitely feels pocketable. Now let's go into the cons and limitations of this lens. Obviously, because it is a kit lens, it has a limited aperture of f4-5.6. I personally would just keep it at f5.6. And so that you're not really stressing too much about whether or not it's going to change or it's varying. So it's going to change depending on the zoom that you have on it. So if you're using 20, 28, 35, 40, 50, 60. But from my point of view, it's a con for other people. But for me, I shoot f5.6 to f9 quite a bit. So that's my preferred aperture. So at times where I need low light or maybe when I'm indoors and there's not enough light, this is definitely a very weak lens in that regard. So not having that versatility is a bit of the downside, but because it is a kit lens and a cheap lens, you have to take that into account. But most likely it's because of the lens, because I was using the other lenses that I have and they were totally fine. It doesn't have as strong of a motor compared to the other lenses, the other prime lenses and other zoom lenses that I have. So autofocus on this is not the best, but it's good enough, especially with Sony's autofocus system. One other con I have for this lens is that in order to use this lens, you have to extend it in order to start 28mm or to even just use the lens in general. So I find that that is a con because so if you could use your base lens and camera combo in this zoom, it's a bit more of a compact setup, but then now that you have to, in order to even use the lens, you have to extend it like that. It's longer now. So I think it would have been more of a pro had it been like that. But because it does that, you're able to use 60 in that regard too. So for me, I like using the 28 range more, 28-35, but there are times when I do use the 60 range. So having that at 60 is also a pro in itself. But in order to start it, you have to put it in that. And then it just feels awkward, and it just doesn't, I feel like it would break on me for some reason, but that's one of the cons I have for this lens. Going into feedback from other users, people who do street photography love it for the stealth and reliability of this lens. The complaints again resonate with what I was saying, is that the retractable design feels awkward. So the filter size is a bit annoying. It's a 40.5mm filter size. So I just bought a filter for it. I'm gonna attach to this lens. It's a CPL/mist filter. So that's gonna be helpful with photos, with also having at least one stop to reduce light going into it if it's very sunny. Other points of feedback that people have for this lens is that it feels cheap but cheerful. So for me, I agree with it. It does feel cheap, but for what it provides, it's very, very reliable and useful. So for practical use cases in terms of street, whenever I have to bring this at the street to take photos or just shoot videos, it's really great for candid moments. Not a lot of people pay attention to it. Traveling with it, it's very compact again, easy to just bring along, and doesn't take up too much space on my camera bag or my mini camera bag that doesn't look like a camera bag, which will be another video on its own. For video, it's fine, but I wouldn't personally take this if I really wanted to get some video footage. I would either take the 35mm f1.8 or my 24-50 f2.8 lens. That's my preferred choices for video. This one, I would most likely just take this for photos. And my personal point of view with this is that for my workflow, I don't really push it aggressively. So I don't use this for anything that is long events for shoots, or I have to chase someone with a skateboard, or I have to shoot in the dark. This isn't the ideal setup. This is just something I would bring for casual fun. In terms of upgrade paths, I want to discuss this because obviously you want to grow your lens setup, your kit lens, and transform it into something else, or maybe even just keep this in the side and upgrade. So I would consider the Sony 24-50 f2.8. It's almost that same range, but with the 24-50 f2.8, you'll get more out of it. Another one I would consider is the 35mm f1.8 prime. It's an amazing prime lens. Another one I would consider as well is the 24-105 f4 with the OSS, more reach, and the OSS is amazing. Also recommend. But these are just my lenses that I have that I want to recommend to other people as well, if you want to upgrade from this. So the honest verdict for this lens is that it's useful if you can get it for cheap, but if you have to pay an expensive price for it, the brand new price, then it's really not worth it. I would suggest if you can just buy this used or find it used rather than buy it separately, that would be the best. I have other lens videos here. If you click on one of these, I'll see you guys there when I see you.